Hey everyone, we're back and ready to dig into a fascinating tool that's got everyone in cybersecurity buzzing. Let's face it, threat intelligence can feel like you're drowning in data sometimes.
It really can. Trying to connect those dots and stay ahead of the curve, well, it's a real challenge.
Absolutely, and that's where TI Mindmap comes in. This tool leverages the power of AI to make sense of all that threat data.
It's true. In the world of cybersecurity, staying ahead of the game is crucial, and honestly, anything that can give us an edge is worth a look.
Exactly. So TI Mindmap, it's all about creating mind maps specifically for threat intelligence. Kind of brilliant when you think about it.
It really is. Visualizing those threats, understanding how they connect, makes a huge difference.
It's like they say, a picture's worth 1,000 log files or something like that. But how does TI Mindmap actually work? Walk us through it.
Well, imagine you're looking at a new threat report, right? Instead of poring over pages and pages of text, you feed the URL directly into TI Mindmap.
So it can be a blog post, a threat report, anything online, basically.
Pretty much. The tool then uses the power of OpenAI or Azure OpenAI to process and summarize the content for you.
Okay, so it pulls out the key points and themes.
Yes, but here's the really cool part. It doesn't just summarize. It analyzes that information, looks for connections, and presents those insights in a way that is super useful for threat intelligence.
And then it takes those key points and creates a visual mind map.
You got it. It's like taking a complex puzzle and suddenly seeing all the pieces fall into place visually. You can immediately see how different entities, themes, and concepts are connected. It's all thanks to some clever coding using Mermaid or MarkMap.
That's incredible. Imagine trying to manually create a mind map from a 20-page threat report. It would take forever.
It would be a nightmare. We're talking about potentially saving hours of work, allowing analysts to focus on the bigger picture, strategic thinking, proactive defense, that kind of thing.
It sounds like TI Mindmap is a game changer, especially with AI revolutionizing cybersecurity in real time as we speak.
It's definitely a sign of things to come. This kind of automation allows security professionals to, focus on what humans do best: strategic thinking and decision making.
And this isn't just theoretical. We're seeing this shift happen right now. But one of the things that really jumped out at me is the BYOK bring your own key. Data privacy is a huge deal these days.
It is a big deal, and rightfully so. TI Mindmap addresses those concerns directly. With BYOK, users keep control of their data. It's all processed using their own OpenAI or Azure OpenAI keys.
That's got to be a relief for organizations, especially those with strict compliance requirements.
Absolutely. Knowing their sensitive information isn't being handed over to a third-party application, it's essential.
Essential for peace of mind and for keeping things, secure and confidential.
Exactly. And it's not just about security. TI Mindmap also boasts multi-language support, which is huge in our global landscape.
That's right, because a threat in one part of the world can quickly become a global issue in today's interconnected digital age.
Exactly. Think about a threat intelligence report written in Mandarin. Now, with TI Mindmap, we can translate those summaries, making that vital information accessible to a global audience.
That kind of global collaboration, sharing those insights, is crucial in cybersecurity because we're all in this together, right?
We are. We can't afford to let language barriers slow us down.
Not when it comes to cybersecurity, that's for sure. The threat landscape doesn't respect borders, so neither should our tools.
Couldn't agree more.
So we've got AI-powered summaries, mind maps, multi-language support. It seems like TI Mindmap is checking all the boxes so far. But it sounds like it goes even further, like really digging deeper into those threat reports to extract those critical indicators of compromise, those IOCs.
It does. Let's say you're investigating a phishing campaign, for example. TI Mindmap can automatically pull out all those IOCs from a report, malware, hashes, C2 server addresses, the works, and present them in a structured format that you can actually use.
Okay, so it's like having an extra pair of eyes scanning that data. But these eyes are powered by AI and laser focused on finding those critical indicators.
Exactly. And don't forget about Virus Total. That integration means you can instantly enrich those extracted IOCs with even more context without having to jump between different tools and platforms.
It just keeps getting better and better. I'm starting to see why people are so excited about TI Mindmap.
Oh, we're just getting started. There's so much more to uncover. One of the things that really impresses me about TI Mindmap is its commitment to open source development. It's not every day you see that.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more about that. How does that work with TI Mindmap?
Well, it's not just a case of, build it and forget it. Antonio Formato, the creator, he's really fostered a community around this tool.
So it's more of a collaborative effort, like a collective effort to build the best possible threat intelligence tool.
Absolutely. The whole project is up on GitHub. Anyone can dive into the code, make suggestions, even contribute new features.
That's amazing. Talk about leveraging the power of the community. And it sounds like that approach has paid off. What kind of talent has this project attracted?
Well, you've got folks like Alexei Maletsky, for example. He joined forces with Antonio. They've added a bunch of really cool features and enhancements. They've been busy, let me tell you.
I bet. What sort of enhancements are we talking about? Give me some examples.
Well, remember how we were talking about getting that visual context, right? Like really understanding the threat landscape?
Right.
So they added this feature, grabs a screenshot of the actual article you're analyzing, and sticks it right there in the report.
Oh, wow. So you can see the original source material right alongside the mind map. That's handy.
It is. And that VirusTotal IOC enrichment we talked about, they integrated that right into the interface. So no more jumping back and forth between tools. It's all right there.
That streamlining, that efficiency, it makes a huge difference for analysts. I can see why they would love that.
It just makes sense. And they didn't stop there. One of the biggest additions, the embedded Inery ATNCK navigator. Now you can visualize those ATNCK matrices right inside TI Mindmap.
Okay, that sounds really powerful. But for those who might not be familiar, can you give us a quick rundown on what MITRE ATNCK is all about?
Sure. Think of MITRE ATNCK like a playbook of adversary tactics and techniques.
Okay, I like that, a playbook.
Right. So TI Mindmap takes those tactics and visually maps them onto the threat intelligence you're analyzing, right? So suddenly you get this much clearer picture of how an attacker might be moving through a network. It's like having X-ray vision into their playbook.
That is a great analogy. So you can see exactly how the IOCs and other threat data lined up with known adversary tactics. That's a game changer.
Exactly. It adds a whole new level of depth and insight to your analysis.
And this is all happening within the TI Mindmap interface. I can imagine that's a huge time saver for analysts who are used to juggling multiple tools and data sets.
It is. And for those who like to get their hands dirty with the raw data, roll up their sleeves, they can still download the JSON file for the INT-TTNCK navigator. Use it offline if they want to.
Flexibility is key, right?
Right.
Not every analyst has the same workflow.
Exactly. They've really thought of everything. And it gets even better.
There's more.
There's always more. So remember how we were talking about the importance of structure and frameworks, right?
Right.
Well, they're big proponents of the 5W framework. Who, what, when, where, and why.
Classic.
It's a classic for a reason. It works. And they've actually incorporated it into TI Mindmap with their new threat scope report.
Okay, so it's not just about the technology. It's about having a solid framework to make sense of the data.
Exactly. You need both. And TI Mindmap gives you both. So, who's behind this attack? What are their tactics? When and where did they strike? And most importantly, why? TI Mindmap helps you answer those questions systematically.
It's all about connecting those dots, understanding the bigger picture, and, those connections are constantly shifting in the threat landscape. Speaking of shifting, I've got to ask about the integration with MarkMap for dynamic visuals.
Oh, yeah. MarkMap is really cool. Think about a mind map, right? But instead of being static, it's dynamic. It updates in real time as new information comes in.
Wow, that's incredible. It's like having a living, breathing document that evolves alongside the threat landscape.
That's exactly what it's like. But, if you're more of a traditionalist, you can stick with the static view. Choose between Mermaid and MarkMap.
Options are always good. I like that they give users choices. But, stepping back for a moment, it seems like TI Mindmap represents a larger shift in cybersecurity, don't you think? It's not just about reacting to threats anymore. It's about getting ahead of them.
Absolutely. It's about moving from reactive security to proactive threat hunting, threat analysis. And tools like TI Mindmap, well, they're essential for making that shift successful.
Couldn't agree more. So what's next for TI Mindmap? What can we expect to see in the future for this tool?
Well, they're constantly experimenting. They've been testing newer large language models, things like GPT-4o, GPT-4o, 2024, 0806.
Oh, wow. The latest and greatest. What kind of impact will those have?
The results are promising. Think faster performance, better handling of structured data, even more accurate AI responses. It's pretty exciting.
It's incredible how fast this technology is moving. It seems like there's a new breakthrough every other week.
It's amazing, isn't it? But it's not just about, throwing the latest AI at the problem and hoping for the best. The TI Mindmap team, they're really focused on usability, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Because a tool is only as good as its interface.
Yeah.
especially for something as complex as threat intelligence. What have they done on that front?
Well, they're constantly gathering feedback from the community, listening to what users actually need, and then they actually use that feedback. Like they've simplified the interface a lot, made it cleaner, less cluttered, so it's easier to navigate and use.
That's so important. Those little details can make a huge difference for someone who's using this tool day in and day out. Community feedback is gold for projects like this.
Absolutely. And they've also, they've cleaned up the code base, made it easier for developers to understand and work with. So, it's good for the users and it's good for the people who are actually building and maintaining the tool.
It's like a win-win. And speaking of improvements, they've also been working on those PDF reports, haven't they? Those were impressive to begin with.
Yeah, they were good, but now they're even better. They're more detailed. You can see the specific MITRE, ATTNCK tactics, techniques, and procedures. They're all laid out in this clear chronological order, really easy to understand, easy to share, if you need to brief someone higher up the chain.
So you can quickly generate a report that tells the whole story, from that initial access point all the way to, the potential impact.
Yep. And remember we were talking about session management, how it can really affect performance? They've made some big improvements there too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was the Streamlit state management feature, right?
Yep, that's the one. So now, let's say you've, generated this amazing mind map, and then you realize, oh, I need a PDF report too. Well, TI Mindmap is smart about it. It's not going to go and regenerate everything from scratch. It reuses the data it already has, so it's much faster and more efficient.
It's like it's learning to work smarter, not harder.
Right.
And I bet that translates into some cost savings as well, right? Fewer API calls, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Especially for those organizations that are doing a ton of threat intelligence analysis, it can make a real difference.
That's fantastic. Saves time, saves money, what's not to like. But there's one more thing I wanted to touch on before we wrap up. Those AI prompts. They're basically the instructions that we're giving to the AI, right? Telling it what to look for, how to analyze the data.
Exactly. And the TI Mindmap team, they're constantly fine-tuning those prompts, making them more effective, more precise. So the AI is giving you even more accurate, more relevant responses.
Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how powerful the AI is if you're not asking the right questions, right?
100%. Garbage in, garbage out, as they say.
Exactly. So they're refining the questions to get us to that goal, that actionable intelligence.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. They're even thinking about making those prompts customizable down the line.
That's the plan. Imagine being able to fine-tune the AI's analysis to match your organization's specific needs, your workflows. That's powerful.
That is really powerful. Giving that control and flexibility to the users, it's a game changer.
It'll be interesting to see what they come up with. And speaking of options, they've also added support for Mistral AI's commercial models. So you're not locked into a single AI provider anymore. You have choices.
Options are always good. It keeps things interesting. Have they tested it out? Does it work well?
They have, and it integrates seamlessly.
That's awesome. So it sounds like TI Mindmap is really hitting all the right notes. Powerful features, user-friendly design, open source collaboration, a real commitment to staying ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
It really is. It's definitely one to watch in the world of cybersecurity tools.
Absolutely. For anyone listening who's feeling, maybe a little overwhelmed by the sheer amount of threat intelligence data that's out there, check out TI Mindmap. It might be just the thing to help you make sense of it all.
I agree. It's a powerful tool to have in your arsenal.
Well said. Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into TI Mindmap. We covered a lot of ground, from AI-powered summaries and mind maps to the importance of open-source collaboration and user-centric design. It's been fascinating. Anything else that stood out to you about TI Mindmap?
For me, it's the team's dedication to open source, to really building a community around this tool that's rare. And it makes me really optimistic about the future of cybersecurity.
It's a good point, because when we share knowledge and resources, we all benefit. And with threats constantly evolving, that kind of collaboration is more important than ever. Well, I think that's about it for today's deep dive. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure, as always, exploring the ever-evolving world of cybersecurity with you.
Thanks for having me. It's been great.
And to our listeners, until next time, stay curious and stay safe.